is day 134 of the year of streaming and learning to code. We are continuing on here at Codecademy. We are proceeding with, don't mind the JavaScript thing. It's this course. It's those new courses they added that are just sitting there. Now, because they're higher up in the list, it always says, hey, do these first. But that's crazy talk. We are continuing on with Ruby on Rails Authentication. This is the last of the 3 Ruby sections. There was Ruby, Ruby on Rails, and now Ruby on Rails Authentication. Learn how to add user sign-up, log in, and log out functionality to your Rails applications in this course. Overview, course outcome, add login, logout, and sign-up functionality to 2 existing web applications. By the end of the course, you will know how to manage user access with your web application. This course builds off the knowledge from the Learn Rails course. Why learn authentication? Most applications out there require you to sign up. As a user, you can sign up for a service, log in, log out. When you're done, as a creator of a web app, you probably don't want every user to have access to every single part of the app, like customer details, security information, raw data, so you want to restrict access. Rails Authentication teaches you how to do this within a Rails application. Syllabus. There are two sections, Authentication and Authorization. Authentication has 1 lesson for us, and Authorization has 1 lesson for us as well. I'm not sure if we'll get through both, but we're going to at least try to tackle Authentication, lesson 1. We do have limited time to stream, so we're going to see how much progress we can make with the little time we have. All right, everything seems to look good. 12 sections. At a minimum, hopefully we can make it halfway through. Ideally, hopefully we can knock out all 12. From the top, many web apps let users sign up for a new account and log in and log out of their accounts. Together, signing up, logging in, and logging out make up an authentication system. Let's create an authentication system for a photo sharing website built with Ruby on Rails. If you're new to Rails, we recommend you do this course first. They have the Ruby course. The Rails course really is a different beast entirely. That's so strange. Good to know, though. Oh, and you know what? When you dive into the first section of the Rails course, it says, hey, do the Ruby course. So eventually, whatever new user will get to the right place. Good to know. Good to know. Instructions. 1. We've provided a Rails app to get you started. Let's take a look. First, install the gems in the gem file. Bundle install. There we go. Next, start a Rails development server, Rails server. And visit localhost 8000 to see a list of all albums. Okay. And then click on an album to see the photo inside it. How can we add an authentication system to this app? Click next to learn more. Run. Click on see album to see the link. Copy. Maybe we will finally find the root of the issue for stuff not being displayed over here, because now it's actually like this is a real concern. I know we can just keep running the code and it would refresh and push our way through, but maybe we can actually identify what the hell is going on. Authentication, code Academy. Codecademy. Or sign up authentication. Latest topics. Maybe that's it. This guy, you, and you, and you, and you. Error. User model. Beautiful. No, that is a whole section. Not needed. This is... Need help. Don't understand how to use form 4. No, not quite our issue. Close out of that guy. About the authentication category, localhost 8000 doesn't work, not found. Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly. So what do they have to say? Codecademy, Rails, Authentication. I finished the course Learn Ruby on Rails. The last task gave me the error not found, so I started the Rails authentication. 1, task was bundle install 2 Rails server and look at localhost 8000, and then in the browser I had to click something, but I couldn't because it displayed the message not found. I've reported bug to the staff and suggest you do the same through the form below the instructions. Sorry for inconvenience. Doesn't work for me either. Oh, so it's an ongoing issue from... These are all 10-4 3 days ago. Yeah, good. Okay. So that explains it. It is an actual issue. We were running into it in both Rails app and the Ruby side. We'll definitely need to come back either when they update it. I think the Rails courses or the Ruby on Rails courses were part of some of the languages that were going to be, or the courses that were going to be updated. In addition to, that's that whole summer update that's coming to Codecademy, where they'll be getting rid of PHP and adding some additional courses like those new ones up at the top that we saw, and a couple other things. So, fingers crossed that. Good. So hopefully that should be fixed sooner than later. Close out of this. Directions say, migration file, blah, 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 string, column, haven't done Rails in years, forgot how to do this. Column name, beautiful, close, sign up, blah, 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 and... There's a known top priority bug out there causing the error like this. Team is working towards fixing it. March. Well, I'm sure it's a big problem. Someone's working on it. Oh, March 2016. This issue's probably been resolved. Hopefully. Closing out of that. We don't need to worry about that, so we'll go ahead and run through. Maybe get code won't solve our problem. Again, maybe it will. Workplace restored. Good enough for us. So, well, we envisioned we had to use our imagination for all the other, the whole Rails section and some of the Ruby portion. I don't know why we can't continue in that here. Using the request response cycle as a guide, here's how authentication fits in. Turn 1. When a user visits the signup page, the browser makes an HTTP GET request for the URL signup. The Rails router maps the URL signup to the user's controller new action. New action handles the request and passes it on to the view. 3. The view displays the signup form. Turn 2. When the user fills in and submits the form, the browser sends the data via an HTTP post request to an app. The router maps the request to the user's controller's create action. The create action saves the data to the database and redirects the album page. The action also creates a new session. What is a session? A session is a connection between the user's computer and the server running the Rails app. A session starts when a user logs in and ends when the user logs out. Instructions. 1. Looking at the request response cycle, we need 5 parts to add sign up machinery to the app. A model, a controller, routes, views, and logic for sessions. Let's start here by creating a model. Generate a model named user. Something, something, something. It's Rails model thing or other. I can't recall. Ruby on Rails, Ruby on Rails. Do. Ruby on Rails, Ruby on Rails. Do. Open section 1 and section 2 along with section 3 and possibly even section 4. Alright. There's all that kind of fun. Now we are looking for model. Perfect. It was Rails generate model. Damn. Should have followed my instinct. Rails generate model for user green checkmark in app model user.rb app model. Of course, there's no user, so we have to add new user.rb has secure password. In the gem file on line 30, uncomment BC crypt on line 30. All right, and we'll run that. Green checkmark, install the gems, which I believe is just install bundle, right? God, I hope it's install bundle. Install bundle, or is it no, it's bundle install. Bundle install. Enter. God, I hope that's right. Aha! Bundle complete. 14 gem file dependencies. 55 gems now installed. Use bundle show gem name to see where the bundle gem is installed. All right, well, we'll deal with that in a bit. So on 3, what did we just do? 1, we created a model named user. In model, We use the method hasSecurePassword. This method adds functionality to save passwords securely. 3. In order to save passwords securely, hasSecurePassword uses an algorithm called bcrypt. Bcrypt. To use bcrypt, we added the bcrypt gem to the gem file. Now that the user model is set up, let's continue by adding columns to the migration files. Open the migration file, db migrate for the user table, and add the user table. Should we see like a user thing, something called user table? Let's create album. We'll open both. That's one, and that's another. Create table, albums and photos. File name, email password. I don't know what to call it. I guess create photos, create albums. User table? Users to the users table. Yeah, we'll call it that, I guess. Migrate. New file. Copy. Users. Create. No, users table. That's what it was. We have to patch this together. So we copied from 50. We'll call this one 60, just for fun. We're trying to follow whatever naming convention they're using. Everything's totally screwed up in the Codecademy database, so we're just doing our best to mimic. Very monkey see, monkey do. Why in God's name is it all the way down there? Oh, because I'm an idiot. We found the source of our problem yet again. Close that. Delete that file. Yes, we want to confirm deleting that. Under migrate, that's where we want to add it. New file. Add. Then we'll open that up. Okay, so now that we've got that, they wanted it under open file migration, db migrate for the users table. Again, it's missing stuff. We're going to try and put in things, but it's going to be, hey, Dreadsteel, welcome back. It's considered good practice to use hash passwords using bcrypt. Otherwise, you get Ashley Madison. Good. Okay. Good tip, Dreadsteel. Thank you. Noted. We don't want to have a fiasco on our hands. So we will be having T strings for, let's see, we're going to have 4 string columns with the following info. Honestly, I guess we could just take, what should we do? I'm trying to think the best way. Albums, photos. I'm going to take all of this, copy. And I know we're trying our hardest because it's just going to blow up in our face, but I'd rather invest the effort up front to piece the nightmare together. That way, when we do go through with their get help function, it's not a complete waste, because I feel like a sham after using their help stuff. But considering we went through their forums and saw that they were having such catastrophic issues with their Ruby or with their Rails module, it it's kind of the only option we're left with. So, first name should actually be section 1. First name, copy, last name, copy, email, and password digest. Okay. And here we will have, it was not create albums, but users table. What was it prior to that? Users, okay, create albums, upper camel case, users, tables, all kinds of confused. This will be users table. And I guess table or users? Ooh. We'll try users first. None of this feels right. Wow, that is not, none of that, that was not English at all. Users. Fire away. Course. Now, let's see, they actually give us a somewhat helpful, make sure the migration file has columns for first name, last name, email, password digest. All of the type of string. Okay, yeah, that's good. The next one we'll try is table. Totally not the right answer. Table. Run. And then we will try user, because I think that's our last shot. Before it gives us the you are severely confused and wrong. Now, again, the reason why we're so confused and wrong is because the site as a whole, well, not necessarily the site as a whole, but the module, the lesson, the course we're in right now, Rails, what the hell was it called? Rails Authentication? Was that it? That's broken. There we go. Ruby on Rails Authentication. This guy is all but broken on the inside. And that's what we're dealing with right now. So we are forging through as best as we can. We'll run it once more. And we'll see what they have. All the correct files restored and in the proper format and all that good stuff. At least I'd hope. Close, close, and close. We'll even refresh the page. Connecting to Codecademy. Open a file. And it was database. Migrate. Now, see, they had 50, 55, and 56. So that is different because we set up 60. Ah, it was create users. Oh, what a rookie mistake, Steven. Create users. We were so close. Not that it would have followed through. It would have run into the terrible error like normal. But, oh, typical Steven. Overlooking the small stuff like normal. Ridiculous. Okay, well anyways, we went through, we at least got the string format correct, which I think is the most important part here. Run a migration to the to update the database, which they did for us, and we don't want to destroy the site anymore than it already is, so onwards. Nice work. You've added columns to the user table and ran a good migration to update database. I don't know where I got the word good. Crazy person, right? All right. Whoa, you have the same first name as me. Ah, the Steven bit. Yes, good. Tons of fun. See, instead of... Oh, you know what? The other thing? I totally was The D in your name is a D, like at the end, next to the 1. Dread Steed, not Dread Steel. Like, the shape of the E, I was just assuming more E's, but no, it's the D with the line. I totally saw Dread Steel. Wrong. Dread Steed. But yes. Back to the Steven issue. Good times. That's fun, right? Yeah. Hashtag Steven life. Good, good. What were we doing? Piecing together what little functionality of the site they have and trying to absorb the most information regarding Rails authentication as one can from a broken activity. Marching on, what's the password digest column for? When a user submits her password, nice. I just like how they assume that the female. Pretty cool. What are we doing? When a user submits her password, it's not a good idea to store that password as is in the database. If an attacker somehow gets into your database, he would be able to see all your users' passwords. One way to defend against this is to store passwords as encrypted strings in the database. This is what the has secure password method helps with. It uses the bcrypt algorithm to securely hash a user's password, which then gets saved into the password digest column. When a user logs in again, has secure password will collect the password that was submitted, hash it with bcrypt, and check if it matches the hash in the database, which is what Dreadsteed was talking about. A good protocol to follow. All right. This is all going to fall apart for 5 seconds because it's all broken, but let's see how far we can make it ourselves before having to restore the website via the get help. Now that the models are set up, let's move on to the rest of the request response cycle and create the controllers, routes, and views needed for the sign-up machinery. Generate a controller named users, Rails, generate controller users, enter. In the routes file, this is where it's the code editor because it's missing files. And even when we put in the correct info, when it does have the correct files, it still doesn't, there's a disconnect somewhere in the back end and it doesn't let us pass, hitting us with the errors and the red check marks, which means no progress. Ergo, we have to run the error till we get help to march on, but we all know that song and dance. In the routes file, which is under config and routes, we're adding the routes, get sign up username, resource users. We'll do that under here, above post. And we'll go ahead and run that. Should be absolutely flawless, but it's not in their eyes with the same generic, weird error we've gotten for all of this course and all of the last course. So we're running and running and running with the devil. Hashtag Van Halen. Good. Having trouble, get code. Everything will restore. Workspace restored right there in the upper right. Beautiful. We're closing that. So, in the routes file, add these. Checkity check. And they add them below the post, but that's fine. Nevertheless, still added. 3. Next in the user controller, add the new action. Define new at user equals new user end. 4. Then in the apps views user new.html, apps views users new.html.erb on line 7, this guy. Use form 4 to create a form with the fields at user object. There we go, at user. Look back at this exercise for an example of how to use form 4. We've provided CSS and app.blah style sheets. Tons of fun. Start the Rails server, then visit localhost 8000, which this is really the biggest issue. or the most soul-crushing part, is that we don't get to see the fun stuff that we're actually creating. That's the worst part. That's the most soul-crushing. I didn't realize until we were more than halfway through the lab course, the Rails course, before I realized that there was actually like something wrong. It seemed and felt wrong, but I just thought I was crazy. I mean, I am crazy, but only today do we actually know there is an official issue. They're working on some ticket thing to try and solve it, but we're marching on. We're making the best progress we can. Preview the sign-up page in the browser. The form won't work just yet. We'll finish it up next. Onwards. Section 5. Great. When you visit the URL sign-up, the browser makes a GET request for the URL. This request hits the user's controller's new action. What's that, little cat? Oh, you are sleeping. Good, good. Little kitty has assumed the napping position in our lap. So she's below the desk, just sleeping her heart out. What were we looking at? GET request for the URL. This request hits the user's controller's new action, which returns a view displaying the sign-up page. Instructions. Next, take in data submitted through the sign-up form and save it to the database. In the user's controller, add a private method, user params, user controller, which we're in, add a private method, copy. Should we add that within? Yes, we should add that within here, within the class. Let's see how they feel about that. Run. Yeah, and they hate everything we did. Cool, cool. I know it should be in the class, but we're going to try it outside of it just because I don't know why. I know it's wrong. It is a class method. Yeah, we're even gonna just put it back. Good, good, good. Back here, right where it should be. Run it again. Course, red X, or red check mark as expected. Having trouble. Technically, they're having trouble. It's not us. Not us. But that gets thrown in. So user controller create. Oh, private did go at the end. Oh no, didn't go outside. See, it was still in class. It's above the last end. After putting private, which was section 1, the second instruction was between the new action and the private method. This guy right here was the create action. Define create at user, user.new, user params, if at user.save, session user ID equals at user ID, redirect to, /d/ else redirect to sign up. Yet again, visit on localhost, which fails to work. Onwards to section 6. Nice job. Now when you fill the sign up form and submit it, the data sent to the Rails app via a post request. The request hits the user's controller create action. The create action saves the data, creates a new session, and redirects to the album pages. How is a new session created? Sessions are stored as key value pairs in the create action. The line session user ID equals at user ID create a new session by taking the value at user.id and assigning it to the key user ID. Instructions. Let's check whether the data saved to the database using the Rails console. The Rails console is a useful tool to interact with Rails apps. We'll use it here to query the database. Start the Rails console by running Rails console. Okay, so Rails console, fire away. Wow, whole lot of stuff happened. Good, good. So we got the green check mark, so Codecademy's happy with that. Retrieve all signed up users in the database by typing user.all. Capital user to note .all, lowercase. Your information should show up in the results. User all, bash user all, command not found. Yet we got a green check mark. So we're just going to pretend everything's great. Visit the localhost 8000 signup to view a few more users through the signup form, and we viewed that. Use the Rails console to retrieve all signed up users again. We're just going to hit enter once more for fun. Green check mark there. Exit the Rails console by typing exit. Look at that and fire away. Oh god. Oh, that was supposed to happen. Maybe? Remember to exit using the exit Rails to... Didn't we just do that? We typed exit and it died on us. Isn't that supposed to happen? This is so concerning. Close, new session, exit, and it did it again. And we're just going to keep doing that until it restores the website. Oh god, that was get, exit. Crazy person. Crazy person. New, exit. And fire away. Get code, restoring the website in the upper right, workspace restored, checkity check, green check marks across the board. We made it at least as far as we wanted to, section 6 for today. We're going to try and power through all the way to section 12. Hopefully we can make it there. We've already streamed for longer than I thought I'd be able to make it, but this is good. This is good. Threadsteed, run Rails console. What? Hold the phone. Run Rails console. Section 6. Right. As in that guy, like we did before. We'll go ahead, get help, clear the exercise, restart, check marks gone. Boom. Why can't we add anything? Let's refresh the page. Here we go. Seriously, and it still remembers all the green check marks? Hold on, just trying to get rid of the checks. And a reset. Oh, you were in... I was in Bash. So, where would I have typed the exit? I thought I was supposed to type the exit bit in the Bash, or in the Bash file. Because all they had was, well, damn. And now it's stuck between... See, everything is like... The Bash terminal is grayed out. But when I refresh the page, it only loads it as the completed version. Oh, Rails console is its own beast. When you exit, it tosses you back out to Bash. Ah. So if I do Rails console, enter, that's me in the Rails console. We could run user.alt, but if I type exit here, that is not English. Exit here. No, perhaps not. Also, it's Codecademy's weird little hybrid terminal thing within their activities. I'm sure it'd be different if I had my own like code editor, like Atom.io, or like what's the other big one? Visual Studio, I think. It's probably just some tiny anomaly that I'm running into here, but C'est la vie. Right, onwards. Section 7. Well, at least aside from that, the whole Rails environment is currently in a state of decay right now. They're trying to fix all the, as you've noticed, for each section, we have to continually go through the get help to restore the web page, just to make it to the next section, which it shouldn't normally be that way. So, from the top of section 7, now that users can sign up for a new account, let's add the ability to log in and log out of the app. Using the request response cycle as a guide again, here's how logging in and out of files fits in. Turn 1, when the user visits the login page, the browser makes a GET request for the URL/login. The Rails router maps the URL login to the session's controller's new action. The new action handles the request and passes it on to the view. The view displays the login form. Turn 2, when the user fills in and submits the form, the browser sends the data via a post request to the app. The router maps the request to the session's controller's create action. 3, the create action verifies that the user exists, not exit, that the user exists in the database. If the user exists, the create action logs the user in by creating a new session. Otherwise, it reloads the login page. Section 1. Let's begin by adding a login page. Looking at the request response cycle, we need 5 parts to add login machinery to the app: a model, a controller, routes, views, and logic for session. As we created the user model when building the signup page, let's start here by creating a controller. Generate a controller named Sessions, which would be Rails generate controller sessions plural. Cool. That worked. In the routes file, back to the less than complete code editor with the missing files. Config routes. Create a routes map request for the URL login to the session controller's new action. So this would be a generic one like so. Copy. And it would be sessions. And it would be new, which they already have the new action there. And it would also be /sessions out here. /sessions. And go ahead and run that. It'll be angry, lots of red check marks. As anticipated. However, when it restores and puts down exactly what we had, oh, I forgot the login bit. I did sessions, not login. That was an oversight on my part, but we've seen it fail many a times. What are we looking for here? 3, in the sessions controller, add the new action, define new end. 4, then in the app views session, new.html.erb on line 7, app so forth and forth, views, sessions, new.blah, line 7, create all of that, which they dropped in. We also provided the CSS and CSS for applications. Restart the Rails server, localhost 8000. I so desperately wish we could see what was going on in their activity, especially considering it's a photo album. Now more than ever, out of all their activities, I mean, the other databases, the movie database, that kind of would have been cool to see, at least just like the structure of the data. But with photo albums, you know, that could be kind of fun. People like photos. All right, 8. Well done. Kind of, not really. When you visit URL/login, the browser makes a GET request for the URL. This request hits the sessions controller new action, which returns a view displaying the login page. 2. In the login form, we use form for session URL login path do F. This refers to the name of the resource and corresponding URL. In the signup form, we used form for @user do F. Since we had a user model, for the login form, we don't have a session model, so we refer to the parameters above. Next, in the let's take in data submitted through the form and log the user in by starting a new session. The routes file, create a route that maps URL/login, we'll have to remember that, to the sessions controller create action. And they have it for us for the post. Now they're even giving us the correct one ahead of time. But yet again, app views in sessions after all. Why is no. In the routes file, create a map. We do that before 1 or after all the div stuff? Oh no, it was in routes. It was in routes, not app. We don't want app, we want config. We want config and routes. Here we go. And here we will be doing post, login, sessions create, exactly as they gave it to us. Run, yet again, angry red error message. Completely perplexed. Well, we should be. We know that it's broken in the back end. That's okay. We are here to continue. Having trouble, get code. Loading. Workspace restored. Default, just as we had it. Post login. 2. In the sessions controller, add the create action. Define create @user find by email param session email if @user and @user.authenticate param session password session user ID equals @user ID redirect to / else redirect to login. Visit the site. Onward to 9. Nice job. Now when you fill in the login form and submit it, the data is sent to the Rails app via a post request. The request hits the sessions controller's create action. The create action checks whether the email password exists in the database, create a new session, and redirects to the albums page. Now that users can log in, let's add the ability to log out. In the routes file, create a route that maps the URL /logout to the sessions controller destroy action, which would be this guy here. Delete logout destroy. This was in the sessions controller, so config routes. Search and destroy. Run that guy. Our good friend, angry red check mark. Greeting us per usual here in the Rails course. Get code. Right there, snuggled under post, is our friend delete. Just like we added. And continuing on, section 2, in the session controller, add the destroy action by setting the session's hash to nil and redirecting to the root path. define destroy session, user ID equals nil, redirect to //, on to section 10. Great work so far. We've built an authentication system that lets new users sign up for the site, and lets existing users log in and out. However, there's one problem. Even after you log out, you can still access the album page. Why does this happen? Let's look at the request response cycle. Currently, when a user visits the URL /album, the browser first makes a request for that URL. The request hits the Rails router. 3. The router sends the request to the album's controller's index action, regardless of whether a user is logged in. What we want instead is for only users who are logged in to see the album's page. Otherwise, they should be redirected to the login page. This means that we need to check whether a user is logged in before sending her request on the album's controller index action. Let's see how to do this. Okay, how are we doing this? In apps, controllers, application controller, yes, this guy. Application controller RB, add a method named current user. Helper method, current user, copy, prevent CRF, APIs. I can only assume this goes inside here. Yeah, let's hope that works out for the best. And run. Met with our error. Good times, and we're running. We will get code to restore the site. Two, below the current user, add another method named require user, define require user, redirect to /login unless current user. Section 11. I hope they send out like an email or an update or anything at all when they actually successfully restore the site officially, or the activity, the catalog. That way I know when to come back. I mean, I know I can just check back periodically, but hopefully they do some announcement of some sorts. That would be good. Unless they're just updating and replacing the course entirely. I do think it is getting some form of an update. I believe the Ruby courses are part of their summer update thing they have going on. But I should double check. I should go back into their news blog forum thing and pinpoint, double check what courses are being updated. Maybe they have dates for when they're actually updating those. So yes, good times. Now, continuing on, 11 of 12, so close to the end. How do these methods work? 1, the current user method determines whether a user is logged in or logged out. It does this by checking whether there's a user in a database with a given session ID. If there is, this means the user is logged in, and @current user will store that user. Otherwise, the user is logged out, and @current user will be nil. The line helper method, current user, makes current user method available in the views. By default, all methods defined in application controller are already available in the controllers. 3, require users method uses the current user method to redirect logged out users to the login page. Here's more on the double vertical pipeline equals syntax, the stuff. We use this in Ruby. We learned about that. It's a thingy operator. Was it conditional? What the hell was it called? What does following code mean? Question. I just want to know its name. I know what it does. Like, it's basically reassigning things, kind of. That's what I thought. Maybe that was in a different language. The question has been discussed so often in Ruby mailing lists and Ruby blogs that there are now even threads on Ruby mailing lists whose only purpose is to collect links to all the other threads on Ruby mailing lists that discuss the issue. Here's one definitive list or equals threads. If you really want to know what is going on, take a look at 11 blah 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 of abbreviated assignments. Their definition at Codecademy was pretty good. I forget what clever name they referenced. It was some type of something assignment, I think. Get back to coding, get back to coding, get back to coding, get back to coding. I guess we didn't need any of the other lessons from the past course. But nevertheless, we came prepared and had them open just in case. Here's more on blah. Here's more on the unless keyword. Look at that as well. Making sense with Ruby's unless. Among things that people new and old to Ruby find delightful are the little things that it does to make the language feel intuitive. Case in point, unless. The unless keyword is just if in reverse. It's a conditional statement that executes if the condition is false instead of true. This lets you write little gems like this. I plus equals 1 unless I is less than 10. Unless person.present puts there is no such person, and tons of fun, good times. We'll save that for later. The important thing is knowing where we can find the resources. What are we looking at? Over here. We made it through their little anecdote thing finally. Instructions. Let's use require user in the albums controller in order to prevent logged out users from accessing these pages. In the albums controller, add this as the first line inside the class. Before action, require user only, index show. The before action command calls the require user method before running the index or show actions. What's happening? Where am I putting this? I know it's all going to blow up in our face, but what now? Let's use the require in the albums controller. So config, no, app controllers, albums controller, before action. So I think that just goes in here somewhere. I think. Totally not sure. We're going to run it. Even if we got it right. Holy sh! We got it right. Dear God. That never happens. Good. So, green check mark. Before action command calls the require user method before running the index or show action. Let's use current user in application layout to update the nav items depending on whether a user is logged in or out. In apps, views, layouts, application.html, blah, 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 within div class nav poll right, within div class nav poll right, on line 21, which is right beneath it, add the following. Copy. Paste. And tab. No, didn't want to be tab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's good. Let's get rid of the extra line, shall we? Let's minimize that and run. Okay, that one hates us. That's normal. Now we're back on track. Having trouble? Possibly. Get code. Let's take a look just to double check. Wow, they actually did have it all the way over here. Maybe that could have just been my bad for moving it. We'll never know. We were close to the end anyways, and everything else is broken, so we're making the best of it. We are making the best of it. Log out of the app. Then visit 8000 in the browser. Should be redirected to the login page, which we aren't. Good. Log into the app with your email and password, then visit Items. You should be able to access it now, but we can't. Onward to section 12. Hot damn. Congratulations. You built an authentication system from scratch. Not quite. What can we generalize so far? All of it. An authentication system is made up of sign up, login, logout functionality. The password digest column and has secure password method are provided by bcrypt to store passwords securely. A session begins when a user logs in and ends when a user logs out. The current user method allows us to access the current user, require user redirects to the root of the app if there's no such user, and before actions act as filters, they call methods before executing controller actions. Tons of fun. We made it out alive. It was painful, but we did it. Up next, authorization. Give specific users permission to access certain parts of your app. This will be for tomorrow, day 135. We will take a peek at it just to see what is on the horizon for tomorrow. So far, we've seen how to build an authentication system that lets users sign up, log in, and log out. In addition to authentication, many web apps have a way to give specific users permissions to access certain parts of the site. For example, a blog would give only its authors permission to access the editing and publishing parts of the site. Permissions are defined with an authorization system. Let's create an authorization system for a whole recipe website build, for a whole crazy person. Totally forgetting how to read. Let's create an authorization system for a recipe website built with Rails. Cool. God, I was on the edge of just powering through this because it's broken. Getting it out of the way now. But at the rate we've been struggling with this, I think I'm going to spread it over another day. Who knows? Hell, maybe the site will be fixed, or maybe the course will be fixed by tomorrow, and maybe everything will work. We'll hold off until tomorrow on tackling this. Yeah, definitely. Don't mind me. Let's go ahead and back out and see where we stand stat-wise for today. We are concluding, let's close out of these. We are concluding day 134 at 50% of the way through Ruby on Rails authentication with 1,547 points to our name. And how many badges? 215 badges. We are making progress. We are inching our way towards the end of Codecademy and all they have to offer. Tons of fun. Let's go ahead and back out of this. Thank you to anyone and everyone who stopped by to view the stream at Dreadsteel. Thank you for stopping by, spending some time here in chat. Greatly appreciate it. Anyone who accidentally managed to stumble across the stream, thank you very much. All views are greatly appreciated as always. Let's make our way over to OBS. All right. The adventure continues tomorrow with day 135. Stopping the stream. Are you sure you want to stop the stream? Hell yeah. Kill it.